Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks very much for turning up. I did this last year. There were 7 people here, and I think 3 of them were listening. So it's really great to see a few more people. But of course, the key thing is it's not actually raining. Now, can we just? I've got 2 exhibits here for you two. Come on, quickly, you two. What I want to talk to you today is a bit about milk and a lot about water. And I've got a vested interest. We've remortgaged the house and we've tried some way or another to persuade people to lend us about 1.8 million to build the first dairy here in Wales for a generation. So this time last year we were just about to build a dairy. Thanks very much, really kind of you. Dairies close at the rate of about 1 every 2 months in these parts, and we're down to about 2 milk producing dairies in Wales. Even since we built our own, 3 more have shut. And what now mostly happens is that milk goes from West Wales to Middle England to be bottled, and then we bring it all the way back to Wales, which is obviously nuts. So we've put a dairy back in West Wales, and we're trying to persuade producers and farmers to come and put their milk through us, and then obviously sell it to the supermarkets. But that's not the rant. There's so much I could rant about. I ranted about food miles last year, but the rant this year, the rant is about water. So Twin 1 has got a bottle of milk, and Twin 2 has got a bottle of water. Now, these are great drinks for these guys to consume. No problem with that. Can't disagree with the Coke man, although Alfie, number 2 son, he's got lots of bother about that, but that's his own issue. We're very happy that they drink milk and water. We're just worried about where they come from. And we're worried about the net effect of paying nearly as much for a bottle of milk as you get for a bottle of water or vice versa. So just bought this bottle of water in WH Smith, cost me £1. It's quite a big bottle. And this is a bottle of our own milk. Costs 50p. Now, there's nearly half as much here, so we're talking about like for like. This came out of a cow, which surprisingly enough has to be fed and loved and nurtured, which is great, and then the milk has to go from the farm to the dairy, has to be bottled, go to the supermarket. All this time it has to be chilled, which costs an absolute fortune, as you can probably imagine. This came out of a hole in the ground in Buxton, which is owned by Perrier. And this is actually good water because the last time you went into a Tesco garage or some other convenience store, you may have bought Evian or some French water, which has travelled literally hundreds and hundreds of miles to get here in a plastic bottle. Now, not only do we have to feed our cows, we also have to pay our farmers, of course. Well, no cows, no farmers, just a well. Not only would you have to chill it, of course, no chilling required, although clearly it's nicer cold. And then lastly, this has a shelf life of about 12 days. And this has a shelf life of, I don't know, a year and a half, I don't know. As long as you're willing to hang on to it. There we are, 2014. You've got 2.5 years to drink this water. We're paying the same sort of money. Now, in Wales, it rains. In fact, in June, most of July, and all of August, it rained all the time. And this stuff was coming out of the heavens like there was no tomorrow. But we were still drinking it out of bottles, out of garage forecourts, out of convenience stores, and we're still happy to pay more for this stuff than we are for this stuff. Now, you may have read a lot about farmers recently, and they're a whinging bunch, and I'm one of them, so that's fine, I can talk about it. But they need a decent living to continue to invest in their farms and their cows and their livelihoods. And as a processor, we need a reasonable living to invest in a £1.8 million dairy, of which the banks would lend us diddly squat. We had to raise it from or beg, borrowing and stealing it, basically. And we had to reinvest that money in a decrepit, rundown site in order that you can get milk delivered to you that hasn't travelled halfway around Britain. And it's not nonsense, it's true. The average pint of milk that's served back in Wales has done about 400 miles from its source to its shelf. Our average pint's done about 100. And that's just because Wales is a hilly, mountainous sort of a place. If it was flattened, it would be a lot less. But what's really important is that we continue to get these guys drinking these 2 products, but we drink and pay for this one as much as we're willing to pay for this one. Thanks very much. Come on, drink up, guys.